should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. Preferably in a residential area.
The following thoughts on Happy Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you. Voted as best local podcast in Tampa Bay by the Creative Loafing. You're listening to Happy Hour. You're tuned in to Happy Hour, an hour where Happy rants about something. Sit back and listen in. Happy Hour is on now. Happy Hour is on now.
Yo, what's up? This is Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppy, and for the next hour, my goal in life is to change the way you think about things. For the next hour, I want my opinion to come into your soul. And after you listen to Happy Hour all the way through, you go, wow, Hoppy is a genius. Wow, I never thought of it that way, but Hoppy is a scholar of 2016. So it's not hard to get into contact with me. All you have to do is call me right now. This show has a phone line. Call me right now. Get your cell phone, go to a payphone, whatever you got to do. 856-49-HOPPY. That is 856-49-HOPPY, and I will be sure to see it in real time, and I will take your call. Also, tweet at me at Ryan Hoppy Radio, and I will probably not address it while I'm talking because I don't have a co-host, so it's hard for me with my ADHD, hey, that rhymed, to focus on tweets while talking, but I will get to it. So tweet at me at Ryan Hoppy Radio, and I will look at it during the commercial break. Also, if you have the Hoppy Radio app in the Google Play or iPhone shop, you can chat me live. All you gotta do is go to those shops, get the app, and you can chat me while I'm doing the show live. So it doesn't matter if I'm in Tampa Bay and you're in Cleveland or you're in St. Petersburg, anywhere in the world, you can listen to Happy Hour on demand and when it's live, and you can hear all the interviews I've done, all 153, but I'm not counting, since last August. We have so much to get into, and So this week, I've been doing some overnight board op shifts, and I love every second of it, but it drains me where I don't want to burn out, and I have a cat that's 14 years old, and she's basically dying because she's old, and I want to have time to go to the gym, and I've been binge-watching The Americans on FX now, so I'm trying to have a social life. I went on a few dates while doing this show. So if I would have done this show on Wednesday, it would have been more of a negative rant about the cops after what happened in Baton Rouge and after what happened in Minnesota. But here's the thing. After what happened in Dallas, Texas, I'm going to give you both sides of how I feel about everything. The negative parts of cops and the positive parts of cops and observations that I've noticed along the way when it comes to how society is in 2016. And let me know what you think. Because at first, if I would have done this show 4 days ago prior to the sniping violence in Dallas, I would have said that I hate how cops pull people over at the end of the month when they're trying to get their quotas in. I would have said that it annoys me and that I'm not a big fan of how they're on the side of the highway and they have their little hairdryer techniques, their little hairdryer technology, and they're just waiting for speeders. I am not a fan of suburban cops. I think they're not as good and they're not as, let's say, higher power as the cops in the bad neighborhoods or the cops that have more duties. Like a lot of times, I feel like these suburban cops that do DUI checkpoints or suburban cops that do the whole thing where they pull people over, I feel like those are the cops that they let in, but they're not good enough to have to deal with the violence in these major cities. So they go, okay, we'll let Chief Wiggum just do the whole trafficness. And I would have also said that I hate when cops tailgate you and then you try to then speed, and then they pull you over. I would have said all this about cops, but After what happened in Dallas, Texas, I kind of feel like we need to be more positive towards cops. And I really hope this is when we come together as a country and we acknowledge the bad cops, like the ones in Baton Rouge or the ones in Minnesota. Those are clear examples of why cops should not have shot those innocent African Americans. But what annoys me about when these kids die, like the one in Baton Rouge or the one in Minnesota, is Black Lives Matter then compares it to Ferguson or Baltimore or Cleveland. I have no problem whatsoever with Black Lives Matter. If you want to do that, if you want to protest, fine. But what I hate is they'll compare a very good example, like the kid in Baton Rouge getting shot to death for no reason while being on the ground, to then, let's say, Mike Brown from Ferguson, who is known for robbing shops and who was a bad kid and who almost took the life of a cop. That's what I hate about these protest groups, is they spread unnecessary hatred. And I feel like at times when they protest, they don't know what they're mad about. They're mad that African Americans are dying, and they should be. But they're also comparing it to Tamir Rice or Freddie Gray or Mike Brown, people that were actually bad dudes, or they compare it to the violence in Chicago. And I just feel like we don't give cops enough credit, and we don't help them, and we don't make them feel good, which is why they come off like such hard asses and they are so grumpy. I feel like in 2016, with social media, they are always having their palms be sweaty. They're always dripping in sweat because anything they do could go on Periscope or Snapchat, Facebook Live, whatever. Anything they do can get recorded and then spun. And I feel like we need to begin appreciating cops because we need to have this new positivity in life. Something needs to be done. And first things first, for something to be done, I feel like whites, Hispanics, Native Americans, Asians, whatever, they need to come together and join Black Lives Matter. I've been thinking about going to a rally, and I'm not kidding. I like what Black Lives Matter does. I like that they're outspoken and they speak their mind. But what I don't like is it kind of just singles out one race and then it spreads the hatred and it just spreads negativity even more. Like, for an example, cops have killed more whites this year than blacks. And I'm not saying that makes it any better or any worse. I'm just saying I feel like at times these protests, they don't even know what they're talking about. I feel like sometimes they're just angry in the moment. And when you get angry, bad things happen. So here's my thing. We need to come together as a country and begin a movement called All Lives Matter. We need to begin coming together. It doesn't matter what color we are, if we're gay, straight, transgender. We need to begin having protests, having meetings, and we need to begin volunteering in these bad neighborhoods. We need to come together. Something needs to happen. Black Lives Matter is fine. They can do it. I don't care. It just doesn't seem like it's working that much because things keep getting worse and worse. And the other way that we can potentially fix things, because you could be saying, Hoppy, you're an idiot. Hoppy, you have no solution. At this point, where there is violence all the time, not just the shooting in Dallas or Minnesota or Baton Rouge, there's violence all the times in every major metropolitan city. Anything can work at this point. Putting my cat in the middle of Englewood in Chicago at this point would be more effort than that dirtbag Rahm Emanuel has ever put in. So here's one thing I think we can do as a country. Here's one thing I think we could do that might not be a complete solution, but it might help. I wrote down last night while I was working at the Bone good things about cops. And I came up with a pretty good list. First of all, they put themselves on the line all the time. They never know when you pull someone over, if that person's going to have an AK-47 and shoot them to death, or if it's going to be some teenage blonde who is just swerving while on their phone. We need to begin appreciating what cops do. There are plenty of dirty cops out there. There are plenty of scumbag cops out there. And I will say that right now. There are plenty of crooked cops that are all about quotas and need power trip. But we need to begin realizing that a lot of cops have good hearts and they want to serve this country. Maybe they were overseas and they just want to continue serving this country. But most cops are good people. And we seem to forget, too, that when you don't get a lot of sleep, you're not really yourself. Cops are always caffeinated. They like their coffee, and they work odd hours. I've been working odd hours lately for 102.5 The Bone, and I love every second. I'm honored that I get to run the board overnight. But it makes me a little bit loopy. We're like when I'm at, let's say, Publix or Winn-Dixie, I forget to scan my credit card, and the lady has to say, Hoppy, can you scan your credit card, please? Think about it from the cop's perspective. You're driving a car that everyone is looking at. You're in an outfit that everyone notices. Can you imagine being tired but having to present yourself in a professional manner where you protect this country? We don't give cops enough credit for the odd hours they put in. And think about this, too. The weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life was The Wire. The darkest thing I've ever seen was The Wire, 2 Girls, 1 Cup, or the Pain Olympics from 2007. And The Wire was just dark and real. The Pain Olympics was awful. And 2 Girls, 1 Cup was horrifying. That's all I've seen in this world. I'm a pussy. We don't realize what cops have to deal with and the fact that they keep it from their family, and most of them don't see therapists. So all the time, they have their life on the line, and they are holding in all this anger and all this emotion of what they are seeing. And can you imagine being this person that's being paid to have everyone hate you and everyone be awkward around you? Can you imagine you're in this outfit and you're just trying to go to McDonald's to get an ice cream cone, and everyone's like, I don't have any marijuana in my pocket. Can you imagine people being around you acting odd? The point of this is I feel like if we come together as a country and we begin having rallies about how all lives matter, African Americans, Hispanics, Caucasian, Asian, Native Americans, something can work. We need to come together and do something. And here's another way that there can be a solution. Because at this point, anything can work. At this point, we might as well try something. The media. If you're in TV news or you're a writer in TV news, you need to listen to my show right now. Maybe you don't like my Midwest twang and you've tuned me out, but if you work in TV media, listen to me right now. I get into cities like Baltimore, Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Louis, all the Rust Belt and Midwest cities in the depressed Midwest. They begin each news report. They'll be like, after CSI Miami tonight, murder, 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 weather update, Cubs win, murder, 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 murder. They need to begin covering good news. They need to begin showing what the good parts of cops are and not just the fact that they might have to take lives away because of gang violence. If the media steps up to the plate and hits a grand slam, and if the media doesn't always care about reporting negative news because it brings in ratings, and they take a risk and they begin covering positive news, maybe, just try something. What's the worst that's going to happen? Your ratings might go down a little bit, but people will get used to it after time. We need to begin appreciating life, and we need to begin being more positive. I've been meditating all the time lately, trying to be positive, and it's annoying. Tampa Bay local TV does it fine. Tampa Bay radio does it brilliantly, but I feel like the rest of the country is just hatred, hatred, hatred. Obama, Clinton, Trump, blah, blah, blah. But it just seems like we need to come together. And people need to look at what the Tampa Bay media does. Here's my final point before I go to break. Call me, 856-49-HOPPY. That is 856-49-HOPPY. Here's my thing. the last problem that we have as a country, the last issue we have is politics. And now I get that you're never going to have 51%, 49%. I get that we're always going to be split 50-50 as a country. I get that we're never going to have a unanimous vote. But I will say this. These, let's say, conservative talk show hosts like Joe Walsh from WIND 560 in Chicago, tweeting all this negative energy about Barack Obama, blaming him for what's happening in Dallas. How do you look yourself in the mirror, buddy boy, with all the money that you make and the platform that you have in the third biggest city, and you blame it on Obama after 4 cops lost their lives while just walking around and being sniped? How do you look yourself in the mirror as you drive home to your nice house? And this just isn't Joe Walsh of WIND in Chicago. This is anybody in the media. This is Donald Trump blaming it on Hillary. How do you guys look yourself in the mirror and actually blame innocent lives being taken away by psychos on politicians? You guys are scumbags, you guys are out of touch, and you guys are buffoons. And now you might be saying, Hoppy, it sounds like you're a little bit liberal, like you like Hillary Clinton. No, I think she's a real bitch. In other words, I'm not going to say on the show, I think Trump is an egomaniac who's in it for himself. I think that conservative talk radio is a bunch of scumbags that spew garbage just to get ratings. We need to come together as a country and do something. Anything. Maybe I'm just babbling. Maybe I'm just spewing nothingness right now. Maybe I don't make any sense, but at least I'm trying to be positive. And say what you want about Barack Obama before I go to break. At least he puts on this persona like he cares about America. Say what you want about his whole idea on gun control or what he's done defending Hillary and what he's done the last 8 years as a president. But he at least comes off like the guy that you can drink a beer with and like he cares about this country. And with the two people that are running, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, they don't seem like they have any compassion in their hearts. And I can't wait to see when we have some awful event and their presidents, how they're going to deal with having to go to these cities and show compassion. I just think this country needs to come together. I think we need to realize how short life is. We're afraid of death. We don't want to address it. I lost my dad in November 2014. So I think about it every day, and every day I wake up, I'm happy that I'm awake. I think we need to realize that there's been a lot of innocent lives that have been lost due to violence and bad neighborhoods and shooting sprees, this and that. And we need to try something new. Maybe my ideas that I just said won't do anything. Maybe I'm out of the loop, man. Maybe I don't know anything. Maybe I'm just a naive 22-year-old. Maybe I'm just a wannabe podcast. Who knows? But at least I'm trying to change the world, and at least I'm trying to spread positivity, unlike everyone else that spews garbage and doesn't prove any point besides being a negative Nancy. Let's appreciate life and love each other. Jesus Christ, get your act together. We will be right back on Happy Hour. After this, call me, 856-49-HAPPY. That is 856-49-HAPPY.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour. Tweet Hoppy at Ryan Hoppy Radio. Email him, ryan@hoppyradio.com, and give him a nice, sexy Snapchat at Hoppy Radio.
Speaking of Snapchat, I put this up on my Facebook last night. Any girl with the new thing on Snapchat Memories, where you have the potential to have all the snaps you've ever sent out come back. Any hot babe, maybe back in high school, who just thought she would send out these nudes and they would just go away. She could trust her boyfriends that they would just go away and never, ever be seen again. She must be crapping bricks with this new Snapchat memory where the snaps could potentially come back. Now, I get that they have to select them first, and I get that they have to add them to their memories for it to be seen, but there is also this thing called hackers, and they're going to figure out a way to get all these nudes. So any girl who thought it was a smart idea to send out those nudes back in college, and now they're trying to get a professional job in sales, spaghetti-o. Also, the other thing, before I get to this next article, that I loved about girls that sent nudes was they thought no one was ever going to see them. Like, they would just get away with it. Ladies, there's this trick that all men do. When you get a Snapchat from a girl, you put it on, I think it's airplane mode. And then you open up the snap, and then you can see it while screenshotting it. Then if you turn off the phone and turn it back on, the snap is there like it's never been open. So I love the girls that go, but he never screenshotted it, because I know I can tell when he screenshots it. This should be a lesson that you should only be sending nudes to the guys you trust via text and never, ever via Snapchat. I cannot wait for the next 10 years when these females are going to be running for office, and all the Snapchats they ever sent, and all the Facebook Lives they ever did, and all the Periscopes they ever did, chat roulette, whatever. It's going to come back to bite the millennials in the ass. Men or female, I promise you. It's going to be funny in like 2037 when all the millennials will be running for president, and they'll be like, oh yeah, but you have that dong shot from 2008. Trust me, it's going to be good. All right, we have so much to get into, so speaking of millennials, do we really hate rape? I know I've talked about this previously on my show, but I can't tell, man, if we really want to fix the issue of rape, or if we just kind of, shove it under the rug and hope that it just kind of goes away so we don't have to talk about it, because it's an awkward subject. A man having sex with a woman without her will, or vice versa. I know it's an awkward subject that nobody ever wants to talk about, because nobody likes really talking about sex in 2016, but it needs to be discussed. This next article. If you thought the swimmer who raped that girl and got away with it, essentially with 3 to 6 months in jail, left her behind a garbage can, gave her ecstasy, bragged about it to his friends. If you thought that was an abomination, or that punk-ass bitch from Indiana University who got away with raping 2 girls potentially, if you thought that was an abomination, everything comes in threes. And this next headline from the Daily Mail is going to make you vomit. This next headline in the Daily Mail, you aren't going to believe it's real life. We need to begin setting a precedent when it comes to having tougher cases on these pretty boys that are raping innocent girls. Because until then, they literally are getting away with murder. They literally are getting away with having sex with girls without their will. And this next headline is sickening. And this judge who did this is a bitch. I swear to God. Now you're going to say, Hoppy, you're being a shock jock. Am I? It says here, judge rules 2 convicted teenage rapists who assaulted a 15-year-old girl are not required for an STD test. Whatever. 2 18-year-old kids raped a 15-year-old girl and gave her alcohol. Whatever. No need for an STD test. Just kind of rip it up. Pretend it doesn't exist. Who needs it? Whatever. Jacob Glenn Hauk, 17, and Nicholas Haggerty Lifferberg, however you say his punk-ass name, 18, were sentenced to 3 years of probation. Whatever. Raping a 15-year-old girl that doesn't know better because she's young and naive and drank too much. Whatever. Tag teaming a 15-year-old girl and raping her. Whatever. They're good-looking kids with money that got away with it because they had good lawyers. Is that the precedent we were setting in 2016? But if I did this at age 15, I'd be given 7 years in jail, or some poor kid from Englewood in Chicago would get 7 years in jail, or some white trash person from, let's say, Chattanooga would get away with it, would not get away with it. But when you're a pretty good-looking kid and you're from Wisconsin and you get away with it, what precedent are we setting? Do we really hate rape? I despise it. But I don't know if we do, man. Do we really? Call me, 856-49-HOPPY. 856-49-HOPPY. The prosecutor asked the court to order an STD test just to make sure, The judge says, you don't have the authority. And I quote, it's not necessary. When two 18-year-old punk-ass bitches rape an innocent 15-year-old girl, it's a sex offender crime. I'm pretty sure it's okay to have them piss into a cup to make sure they didn't give her anything. Because if the prosecutors want the urine to see if they gave her something or not, they probably did, because they wouldn't want it if she was clean. If the prosecutors are so gung-ho on getting these two punk-ass bitches urine, maybe they gave her something, and the judge just wants to see these pretty boys get away with it because they got such a future. They're so pretty. Oh, their beady eyes. Yuck. Two high school kids who raped a 15-year-old girl will not have to be given a test for sexually transmitted diseases, a judge said Thursday. Jacob Glenn Howark and Nicholas Haggerty, both high school kids in Pinckney, Michigan, were sentenced in April to just 3 years of probation after giving the girl alcohol, ecstasy, weed, and taking her to Howark's home and then assaulting her while both having sex with her. That dead air was for a reason. They brought her back to her house, gave her ecstasy, weed, alcohol, and both had sex with her at the same time. Whatever. If it was anybody else that's not good looking and doesn't have money and it's not from a rich suburb of Milwaukee, they'd probably be prosecuted. But when they're good looking kids, whatever. I know their name will be online forever, and that should be a punishment enough. If I were trying to hire them in 5 years to work in McDonald's, and I looked up their name, I wouldn't even hire them to scrape the grease from the McDouble off the ground. Because they have the integrity of my cat's litter box, these pussies. If you have to rape an underage girl and get her on ecstasy and weed and alcohol just to have sex with her, then you're nothing but a loser who has no social skills and is going nowhere in life. And you have the integrity and the heart and the character of a dead rat. Just saying. This piece of flint that I picked off from the ground is going farther in life than you, Jacob Glenn Howark and Nicholas Haggerty. Pussies. A prosecutor asked the court to order them to get tests for sexually transmitted diseases, including the HIV, the Detroit Free Press said. My thing, too, is what's the worst that could happen when you get the test? It's not like you're asking them to go to jail for 5 years, anything for raping a girl. All you're saying is have these little pussies drink a bottle of water, piss into a cup, and go on with their day. What is the judge hiding, and what are their lawyers hiding when they don't want to have these kids take a piss? Probably because they have some type of STD, and they gave it to the girl, especially if the innocent girl's prosecutors are so gung-ho on getting the urine. These punk asses got away with it because they're good-looking kids who are rich and white. What a precedent we are setting to the future generations. Ugh. Leveveux and Howark pleaded guilty to third-degree criminal sexual conduct, which in Michigan is rape. But they just got, 3 years probation. I guess Michigan is like, if you have 3 kids there having sex with a 15-year-old girl that's on ecstasy, weed, and alcohol, then you get jail time. But when it's just 2 kids having sex with an underage girl, whatever, move on, doesn't matter. Maybe if you get 4 guys there or 5 guys there, that's when the real jail sentences comes in for having sex with a girl who's naive and giving her drugs to get laid. But when it's just two guys, it's just boys being boys, They're all horned up and they got a lot of tea, They mean well. And I bet all their friends are slut-shaming the girl. Well, why is she going to their house by themselves? Because girls are very nice people. And they want to believe that they're not always being used for sex. And maybe the girl just wanted to have a fun night. Maybe she didn't want to get raped. And maybe she thought she was just going to drink with them and take ecstasy and weed. And she wasn't expecting to be raped by two punk-ass bitches at the same time. So I'm sick of any of these comments where, why is the girl going to the house by themselves? I don't know. Because in this life we have, you try to have trust in people. I don't know. It's called being human and having a heart and not being a scumbag. Greg Houck gave her alcohol, ecstasy, and weed on school grounds before they took her to track practice and then went to the home afterwards, So these kids are going far in life. They're those jocks that think because they're good at sports and they're good looking that they can get away with anything. And they basically did. So they're so edgy and so wild that they brought drugs onto the school, got the girl drunk before her track practice, and got her high on ecstasy and then raped her afterwards. Oh, wow. Give them some, award, at the end of the year when you have to sit in that ceremony for an hour and a half in the, let's say, gym room, in the auditorium, and they're like, here's the kid with A's. Here's the kid that got all the awards. Here's the kid that won the spelling bee. Good job. You made it through another year. See you next year after the summer. They should have an award for being pretty boys who get away with rape. Is that what we want now? We're just going to give them rewards because they got away with it? Is it the fact that if you have money, you can get away with it? I don't get it. Why are we being nice to pretty boys who are Caucasian, who have money, who rape girls? If these guys were 40 years old, then maybe they'd be given 7-8 years. But when they're good looking, whatever, rip it up, turn a blind eye, pretend it never happened. And this judge, Michael P. Hattie, you should be ashamed of yourself. You are a liar. You are a failure. You're a loser. You're a cretin. You're a piece of dirt. And to even call you a judge and to even think that you have the power to reign on cases is an embarrassment to this country. It's an embarrassment to law. It's an embarrassment to the judicial setup. It's an embarrassment to everything. You probably are such an awful father to your kids. You let them do whatever. You think your daughter's an angel. She's probably just partying all the time because you're not there for her. Because if you're cool with two 18-year-olds getting away with rape, whatever, then you're probably an awful father. You're probably a lazy husband, and you're a loser as a person. You have no morals, and you feel bad for these kids because you're not very smart. Maybe it wasn't hard for you to be a judge. Maybe you just kind of got in lucky. No one else was your competition when you were in law school. Something isn't right about Judge Michael Hattie. He's lucky that he has the position as a judge because he's a scumbag and a craphead. I really want to say worse words, but someday my goal is to get Happy Hour on the radio, to get Happy Hour on Sirius XM, FM, AM radio, maybe a podcast network, any way to make money with this show. So I'm trying to not be vulgar anymore. So this guy's a craphead. He's a poop head. You know what I want to say. Ugh. The girl has had to deal with bullying, depression, nightmares, and flashbacks. Oh, yeah. Anybody that's bullying a girl that got drugged and raped at the age of 15 are also losers who are going nowhere in life. I know that kids are cruel. I know that kids are mean, but man, we need to begin laying down some discipline. We got to start doing something. Because until then, we're going to wonder why rape keeps on happening. And we're going to say, gee, is there a way to fix the problem? We're going to go, gee, there's got to be a solution somewhere. What can we do to put the numbers of rapes down? We're giving it social media attention. We're talking about it in the media. We're thinking about it more. We're crucifying them online via comments. But what can we do to begin setting a precedent that it's not okay to get away with rape? Oh, yeah, that's right. Giving them actual jail time and actually punishing them and not caring if they're rich or not. But until then, we'll keep crying wolf, and another case will come out in 2 weeks, and we'll go, why does it keep happening? Wake up, America. It's right in front of you.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour.
Live from the Sunshine State, this is Happy Hour.
Coming up on Happy Hour, before I end the show during last call, I have a few bones to pick with Rahm Emanuel. But first, I want to talk about something. I've been in denial. I've been lying to myself. I go to bed pretending I don't have this addiction. I walk around in the offices of my job. I go to the gym pretending I don't have this addiction. I've been living a lie. Folks, I have to come clean. I'm very ashamed about what I'm going to say. It's hard for me to come clean, you know. Because you try to be a good person in life. And you hope for the best. And I hope that you guys don't judge me about this addiction I have. It's taken over my life. Hi. My name is Ryan Hoppy. And I'm addicted to social media and the iPhone. I bet people were listening to that like, Jesus Christ, is Hoppy drinking a lot now? Is he doing crack, heroin? No. Just as bad. It's social media. Ugh. So, recently, I've been looking up social media addiction online, and I've been looking up how to get better at it, and then I just keep going on my phone, refreshing Twitter for approval. Got into a Twitter argument with a fan base from the previous show I worked on for no reason. I want the approval, and when I get the approval, it's never enough. I want more. So I went, like any addict, you know, you got to find the traits of if you have an addiction or not. You know, if you're, let's say, a guy that has a drinking problem, you wake up in the morning, you want to have a drink, you crave it all the time, you think about it, you bring a, let's say, a nice bottle to work and you drink it without people knowing, you break the rules. If you're addicted to weed, you know, you need to smoke it for social anxiety. You need to smoke it to get things done. There's all these different traits for different addictions. And I said, I got to look up the traits for social media and for the smartphone and to see if I have it. And I was honest with myself. I wasn't going to lie. There's no help group in a church basement in a weird part of Pinellas Park for a social media addiction. So that's why I'm talking to you guys, and chime in, 856-49-HOPPY. That's 856-49-HOPPY. I'm coming clean. I feel refreshed. It's kind of like when someone that's like an adult gets baptized in a river by some gospel church. That's how I feel. I've been cleansed. It says here, and this is from smallbusiness.com, 30 signs of social media addiction. It says here, 23 and above out of 30 traits, and you have a severe addiction. 15 and above, you're on the track. 10 or less, just watch for your social media addiction. Folks, I'm scared. I really don't want you guys to judge me. Please, I'm working on being a better person. I'm really working on calming down my ego and not having this show, you know, take over. Really working on not tweeting all the time and appreciating life. So, I'm going to read you guys these characters and these traits, and I'm going to come clean with you and let you know if I have them or not. Number one, and I will have a sound effect for if I have it or not. You check your mobile phone every few minutes for any notification on Facebook, Twitter, or such. Yes. There you go. Number two, you think your world is over when you have no internet access or when Twitter, Facebook, or other social media is down. Oh, God. Yes. Happens all the time. I remember my router went down last summer during this thunder attack where my house just shakes from thunder and lightning. And my smartphone died, and I had no power, and I thought the world was coming to an end because I couldn't tweet about nothing and refresh the mentions looking for any approval. So, yes, that has happened to me. Has it happened to you? Call me. 856-49-HOPPY. That's 856-49-HOPPY. Or just feed my addiction. Literally just put, let's say, gasoline on the fire and just tweet at me at Ryan Hoppy Radio. So then I'll refresh the page looking for any approval. Let me know if you guys have this next trait that's on here of the 30 signs of social media addiction. You assume other people are weird when they don't know such cool terms as be right back or cannot make it or LOL. Yes, that's me. I can't believe that people don't know what an F-boy is or what Tinder is or Bumble. I look at them and I go, what's wrong with you? You don't know about Bumble or Tinder? Or you don't know what it means to get turned up or lit? So I am 3 for 3 so far. I'm going on this downward spiral. I might be an addict. Number 4, you have to check in at every location to let people know where you are. Not really. What am I going to say? I'm at the gym. I'm at home petting my cat while watching the Americans on FX. I'm at work. I check in when I'm at work because I'm trying to make it in radio, but no, that's not me. 5, you have to announce every hour what you are doing. Not me. I don't say if I brush my teeth, if I'm having lunch, if I found a penny. Like I said, my life's pretty boring. Number 6, you have a meeting every week with other social media addicts to figure out what to put on next week on Facebook. No. Maybe that gives me some hope that I'm not like going to someone's house and we're drinking tea while eating crackers and we're like, what should we put on Facebook at 3 p.m. when most people are on it this Wednesday? No, I don't do that. You tag your friends in pics that do not involve them in order to have them see it on Facebook and pay attention to you. Nope, not me. 8, you have a hashtag about everything under the sun. No, not really. I'll hashtag Hoppy Hour, but maybe I'm not that addicted. Maybe there's hope for me. Maybe I have a chance in life, you know? Because all you can have is hope when you're an addict. Number 10, you have made urgent requests for them to play such games as Candy Crush and much, much more on social media. Ugh. I hate people in 2016 that go, want to play Farmville or Monopoly? No. And I'm going to unfriend you if you keep sending me that crap. So no, that's not me. Right now, I am 4 out of 10. I'm just 40%. I have an F. You know, I feel good about myself. You believe life is more happening on social media than in reality. I'll say a yes to that. I don't want to, but I'm going to. 5 out of 11 right now. It's one of those things where with my ADHD and my bipolar, I get really nervous and really awkward in social situations. Anybody that works with me or has gone out with me knows about it. And sometimes I feel like if I'm on my phone, I'm kind of safe. It's like I have a Snuggie on and I'm not seeing the world around me because I'm self-conscious about what people think of me. So yeah, I would say I have that. Sometimes I feel like social media is a safer place than the real world. But frankly, with the way the world's going, it is safer. Jesus Christ. You freak out if your pics are not uploaded to Facebook or Twitter. Oh my God, that's me. If it says, cannot upload right now, I freak out. If it says, warning, your Facebook has been shut down, I freak out. If it says, please try it later, Facebook is down, you cannot upload the pic, I freak out. If I have a 1X, awful reception on my Sprint, and I'm not able to upload the latest selfie of me doing Hoppy Hour, I freak out. That is me. Because I need attention, folks. I didn't fit in high school, and this is all I have. It's not the best thing to admit on a podcast that all you have is you talking into a mic by yourself and your cat and the matches that you get on Tinder and Bumble that just seem to kind of fizzle out. I live a great life. You created a Twitter or Facebook for your pet dog. No. But I have to say yes to that. I did one time. There was this site called Catbook. Back in like 2007. It's like when I was in 7th grade. Bet it makes a lot of the listeners feel old that I was like in 7th grade back 10 years ago. But on Catbook, I made a social media account for Dino and Lily, my 2 cats. And I had everything, how much they weighed, their eyes, what type of cat they are, their favorite shows. Yes. So I have that. I don't do it anymore. I do take pics of my cats and put them on social media, or my one cat since poor Dino died. But yes, I have that issue too. Maybe I am an addict to social media. What do you think? Call me. 856-49-HOPPY. That's 856-49-HOPPY. This next one scares me, folks. This next one frightens me. This is a bad one to have. You cannot live a day without social media. You need to travel with it, eat with it, sleep with it, or use it while taking a dump. When I wake up in the morning, I need to check Facebook to make sure that I got some likes on some videos that I did. I need to check Twitter to make sure I got some retweets or maybe a follow back or a DM from somebody I'm trying to get. I have to check Graham to make sure I got some likes. Folks, I'm addicted and I need your help. Just ignore me now on social media. Like you already do. Every food you take needs to go on Facebook. If I'm having a nice fancy meal, maybe, but no, I don't do that. And what I love, too, about people that promote their food on Facebook is it always looks awful. It's like, I'm a vegan. Please pay attention to the fact that I'm a vegan, and please notice that I'm a vegan and that I'm eating this awful food. But I'm a vegan. Please pay attention to me. Ugh, is that annoying? You need to check in when you're at the gym. Nope. Nobody needs to know. I'm anonymous when I do that. But by saying that just now, I basically say I'm going to the gym. So really, I'm no different. You secretly spend time of your work hours on social media. Now that, I'll check in, because when I'm working Bone events, I want to work social media. But no, I'm not chatting people during work. I used to have that problem when I first joined the Bone, and even when I worked for Rover's Morning Glory. I remember Chocolate Charlie would yell at me in the fart box back in the phone screening room because I would be checking Twitter and Rover would be talking about ISIS or some topic that gets a lot of calls. It wasn't like he was just, I don't know, talking about something that wouldn't get calls. Like during the emails, you wouldn't get as many calls because the show's just beginning. But there'd be times Rover would be talking about his Tesla car or ISIS or B2, whatever calls, whatever topic that gets the most calls, and I'd be on Twitter, and Chocolate Charlie would be yelling at me. So yes, I have gone on social media during work. You get mad or you feel uncomfortable when nobody comments on your updates on Facebook. That was me last night. I made a post about the Americans on FX, and I said that Paige is the most underrated actress when it comes to being a hateable daughter in a serial drama. And not many people watch The Americans. It's got a cold following. And I felt left out that nobody, commented on it. Because I'm too cool to watch, let's say, Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad. I like fitting in. I like being popular, but those shows suck. And I'll say it right now. You feel uncomfortable communicating with friends without using any social media device. Yes and no. I'm really working on appreciating life and my friends. Like I went to my friend's birthday party and I was on my phone a little bit, but I did like the face-to-face conversation. So I scored a 23 out of 30. So that's about a C+. So I'm an addict of social media. I need your help, folks. I need you guys to pray for me. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I need you guys to wish me luck. I need help. I'm a sick man. I need to go to rehab. So basically, I can't afford social media rehab. It doesn't even exist. There's really no help for it. There will be social media groups in about 5 years. There will be groups in like church basements or let's say veteran halls where people go and they're like, yes, I look at my time hop every day and wonder where my life is going. Yeah, in 5 years there will be that. But until then, there is the ultimate cure to my social media addiction. Just ignore me and pretend I don't exist, But please don't do that. I need your approval, because I'm a very sad man. No, I'm not. All right, call me 856-49-HOPPY. That's 856-49-HOPPY. We will be right back on Happy Hour. I'm going to come back, wrap everything up, talk about my hatred for Rahm Emanuel, and then plug everything that I'm up to. But first, I want to give you guys a song that you can get down to with your girl, because nothing turns your girl on more than listening to my Midwest twang, my lisp, my accent from Chicago. Nothing makes her as horny as Happy Hour. So I'm going to spice it up even more and have her climax with Trading Places by Usher on Happy Hour. Call me, 856-49-HOPPY. We will be right back. Do not touch that computer mouse or your tablet or whatever way you're listening to this riveting show.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour. NBA D-League coaches, nationally syndicated radio hosts, TV writers, comedians. You never know who will call in a happy hour.
Isn't this beat so relaxing? Sounds like a song you would hear if you went to a Chris Angel show, like a Mind Freak show in Las Vegas 10 years ago. It puts you in that zone, makes you want to go to the beach and just lay there and listen to the waves and drunk people talking about nothing. As I went to the beach today, it was relaxing. But doesn't this just put you in that zone of zen? You just think about life and how great it is. Or you think about how annoying your girlfriend is and how you can't wait to go to the bars with your boys. Anything that cheers you up. This song just puts you in that mood. It's pure bliss, It makes you want to listen to Happy Hour even more. And it makes you wish that the show didn't have to end. But you can make it prolong like an erection. Call me, 856-49-HOPPY. It's 856-49-HOPPY. The part of the song when they sing in this, oh my God, it's like an orgasm. Brings me chills. Oh yeah, let's hear this. I remember when I tried out for the show in Cleveland the first time, then the second time. Before I went in, I would listen to this and meditate. To this, Lose Yourself by Eminem. And then the first day that I began working at 102.5 The Bone, this was the song that relaxed me and would help me meditate, think about things, I'm really big into meditating just because I'm such an anxious mess that anything helps at this point. It's weird, too, because people will be like, you don't seem that anxious. Which is a lie. I'm always anxious. But they go, you seem fine. But in the back of my head, I'm like, what did I do wrong? What's going on with me? Am I okay? Am I cool? Was that okay? Was that okay? It's a part of being bipolar and ADHD. You're very anxious. But that's what meds does to help relax you, You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? All right, here's the deal. You guys ready to hear what the deal is?
Happy Hour is about to end. But first, it's time for Last Call.
All right, I needed to have a song that would relax your soul. Because I am sick and tired of that dirtbag known as Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago. Oh, my God. Couldn't believe he had the audacity and the gut and the character to say, and I quote, "Let Chicago set the example for other cities to emulate our tolerance and our diversity." That dead air was for a reason. I'm trying to set a precedent. And I quote again, let Chicago, the city that has over 4,000 shootings this year and 70 shootings over the weekend last year for the 4th of July, and they were so happy that just 4 people died. Yeah, that city. Let that be the example to emulate tolerance and diversity. What are you talking about? You know what's so sad about the violence that's happening in Chicago? You know what's so sickening about it? It's the fact that this scumbag Rahm Emanuel has done nothing to help prevent the violence. Ever since that kid got shot 12 times, the cops have been afraid to act. It's just been madness. And what's sad is whenever I tell anybody down here in Tampa, because it's a transplant area, so they go, you have a Midwest accent. Where are you from? Michigan, Wisconsin? I go, I'm from Chicago. And they go, oh, there's a lot of murders there, right? That's what you have built, Rahm. I know it never was great when Mayor Daley was there and all the other previous mayors. But that's the reputation you have when it's tolerance and diversity, is the fact that it's the greatest city in the Midwest and potentially the best city in this country when things are good and it's warm out. You have the Millennium Beam, Sears Tower, deep dish pizza, Italian beef, the best hot dogs, Cubs, Sox, Blackhawks, the Chicago Fire, the Bulls. You have Lake Michigan. You have theater. You have a great radio market. You have a great TV market. But that's what you're known for now, you scoundrel. You're such a pussy that you got mad when Spike Lee last year made that movie Chirac. You're such a coward and such a loser. You're so thin-skinned and you're such an egomaniac. You're such a narcissist that you got mad over the name Chirac. It wasn't like Spike Lee came up with the name. The citizens of the city that you run came up with it because there's so much shooting like Iraq. But yeah, let this city set the example. If Chicago is the example that all the other cities should look at, then this country is screwed. For tolerance and diversity, if you're implying that what you're doing as a mayor should be looked upon as greatness, then we are doomed. And I'm not saying Mayor Daley was a great mayor, but he at least seemed like he cared about the city. Rahm Emanuel just kind of showed up on the scene. Back in 2008, when Mayor Daley was going to retire and his wife got the cancer and died, we all knew he just kind of wanted to live out the rest of his years. And they were like, who's going to be the replacement? And what annoyed me was, I like Obama. I voted for him. I'm not getting into politics right now. The one thing I don't like about Obama is he endorses anyone who's liberal. Like, if you're not endorsed by Obama, you're an idiot. You're doing something wrong to not get Barry's approval. And what annoyed me was, I never liked Rahm Emanuel. He came off like a scumbag rat. He came off like a creepy politician that wants the power trip and hopes that this job can help him get a higher power, you know, like president or Senate, whatever. And what I hated was, this is back in 2008 when Obama was really cool, and he endorsed Rahm Emanuel, and everyone's like, yeah, that's our mayor of Chicago, yeah. If Obama likes him, whatever. And then Rahm got this big head, even though he had no competition whatsoever. And what I don't get about these races for mayor, I get that when you're running for president, you're going to have the Democrats and the Republicans, and Gary Johnson and the Ron Pauls have no chance. I get it. But I don't get these city elections. You're not going to look at anybody else? You're going to let this creep get into office? Rahm Emanuel's so awful that someone named Chewy Gomez, who looks like a nice enough guy, but definitely not mayoral material to be a mayor of the biggest city in the Midwest, the third biggest city in this country, the fourth biggest city in this continent, and one of the biggest cities in the world. Rahm Emanuel almost lost to a nice guy named Chewy Gomez who had no idea what he was doing. And the annoying part is, if you're not in Chicago, nobody cares. Tampa doesn't care. Cleveland doesn't care. And it's just depressing. And what depresses me, too, is nobody says anything about this pussy, this scoundrel, this imbecile known as Rahm Emanuel. Which is why I give a shout-out to Mancow on 97.9 The Loop. He calls him out every day. I listen to Mancow's podcast during the day. I grew up on Mancow's Morning Madhouse. And it's so refreshing to hear somebody from the Chicago media call him out. Now, I'm not name dropping, and I'm not going to name drop, but I have friends that work in all different forms of media in Chicago who have been mentors to me, or were teachers, or I've networked with, or hit up on Facebook and became friends with. And they've all told me that Rahm's a scumbag, that Rahm's not cool at these galas or these events. He's just very cold, and he's a narcissist who tries to overcompensate. But what annoys me is the fact that they're just pretty nice to him up there. Like, why is Mancow the only person that's calling out Rahm Emanuel? That's what infuriates me. It's the fact that nobody else talks about it up there in Chicago. Everyone says things when the mics or the TV cameras or the newspaper articles aren't being typed. But when they're being typed and the TV cameras are on and the mics are on, everyone's so politically correct towards Rahm. It's sickening. I love that quote. Let Chicago be the example for our tolerance and diversity. Yeah, you know. There's this website that's great. It shows you all the violence. Well, it's not great in a good way, but it's called HeyJackass.com, and it shows you all the numbers from this year so far. The city that's so diverse, the city that is so great that everyone should look up to, led by Rahm Emanuel. And I love Chicago more than anything. It's my hometown. It's a great city. And I hate that it's being represented and thought of as like a murder town in Iraq. It's an embarrassment, and Rahm should be ashamed. Here are the numbers to date. People shot and killed, 311. Shot and wounded, 1,800. Total shot, 2,090. Total homicides, 346. A person is shot every 2 hours. A person is murdered every 10 hours. Let's see what else we got here. This week, 10 people were killed. 90 were shot and killed. 100 were shot. 11 homicides, July to date. 110 shootings. 20 people died. 15 homicides, whatever. You know. 90 are done by gunshot. 10 are done by knives, and 2 are done by others, so maybe chokings. And it's always in the head, in the heart, or by torture. Nice. You get all the numbers. It's HeyJackass.com. HeyJackass.com. And it goes on and on and on and on with all these numbers. It is sad. Let's look at the numbers from last year and see how we're doing. And I'm saying it as if I'm in Chicago. Last year, a person was murdered every 18 hours, so it's going down to 6 hours this year. Good, more often. Good job, Rahm. A person is shot every 2 hours, so it's equal. Last year, there was a total of 2,550 people that were shot and wounded. There were 446 people killed, 3,000 people that were shot, and 508 total homicides. So far, we're close to 2,000 shot and wounded, and total shot 2,100. They are only 800 off from breaking last year. But yeah, Rahm Emanuel. Yeah, buddy. Great mayor. And I would say this to him too. Like, I feel like people think I'm just this loudmouth that spews garbage or talks smack. I feel like people think I'm doing this to be a shock jock or be edgy. No, I would say it to him. Because Chicago is the example for other cities to emulate their tolerance and diversity. Oh, shut up. God, you are such a dirtbag. It's just how I feel, you know. Call me before I end the show. 856-49-HOPPY. That is 856-49-HOPPY.
Happy hour is about to end. But first, it's time for Last Call.
Ow.
All right. We're about to end this thing. I appreciate you guys listening. It means a lot. It's not hard to check out the show. It's not rocket science. You don't need a PhD. Go to the Google Play and iPhone shop. Search up Hoppe Radio, HOPPE Radio, and you can listen anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter if you're in Cleveland, the ROC of New York, Tampa, St. Petersburg, Chicago. You can listen anywhere in the world with the Google Play and iPhone shop app by searching up Hoppe Radio. Tweet at me, at Ryan Hoppe Radio. Email me, ryanhopperadio@gmail.com. Also, Snapchat me. Let's have some memories. At Hoppe Radio. Also, this show has been brought to you by Simply Prepaid of T-Mobile in Gulfport. That is Simply Prepaid of T-Mobile in Gulfport. And to get into contact with them for the best deals possible on monthly service, brought to you by T-Mobile. It's 727-331-1934. That's 727-331-1934. And they are at 5014 Gulfport Boulevard South, and that's in Gulfport. Go there, talk to Tony Spinney, talk to his lovely wife and the two Ryans that work there, and Patrick McVicker. Say that I sent you there, and they will give you a great deal. Also, Happy Hour has been brought to you by Speed King Signs out of Palmetto. Hell yeah, James St. John and Brooke and Nick. They're the ones that made that T-shirt that you would see when I had all those guests on the past 6 months, and they hold up the shirt like they're being held, you know, like they're my person that I kidnapped, you know. They made those shirts for Happy Hour. Call them at 941-628-1506. That's 941-628-1506. And they are at 4117 Street South in Palmetto, Florida. And finally, you want to promote Happy Hour and spread the word? It's not hard. It's not rocket science. Go to tinyurl.com/happyhourdecal. It's tinyurl.com/happyhourdecal. For just $2. For just $2, for just 8 quarters, 200 pennies, 20 dimes. Well, what would that be? I don't know. I'm done doing math. For just $2, you can get Happy Hour decals brought to you by Solis Graphics of Duluth, Minnesota. tinyurl.com/happyhourdecal. It's tinyurl.com/happyhourdecal. Solis Graphics out of Duluth, Minnesota, brought to you by my guy, my friend, and my sponsor, Nicholas Seymour. All right, that's about it. I'm tired. I need a breather. I need to eat. But I appreciate you guys listening. This has been Happy Hour. You know, this riveting podcast I do. I am your host, Ryan Hoppy, saying peace out.
Happy Hour.